Hey, what's going on, guys? This is your guy Jo, and with my co-host Flock, and we're here to record a recording of Invincible. Just going to go through our experiences with the show and kind of just give you our thoughts about it. Go on and introduce yourself, Flock.
Hey, I'm Flack, and I will be learning about Invincible at the recommendation of Jo here, as you on this channel of No Culture. We bring culture to those who don't know anything about it, right? Or at
Right?
least we see if this is required for culture.
Yeah. We plan on doing different media such as TV, movies. In the near future, hopefully, we'll look to get into gaming as well. But we're going to start with TV shows and movies at the moment. So bear with us. If you like the content, you make sure to subscribe, like, do all the things that need to be done. The YouTube stuff, you know how it is. We need
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And just as a reminder, as we'll repeat it again at the end, if you have any recommendations on what we can do on No Culture, we're always glad to take suggestions.
And also, spoilers. We're going to talk about the show. Everything's going to be done. I mean, come on. Right now, we're going to be talking about a show that's like 6 years old, 5 years, 4 years. I
What?
I didn't do the research, but fair
What?
warning, spoilers ahead.
It is not that old. I'm pretty sure it's like 2 to 3 years old.
Alrighty, so starting out with our first video, I recommended my friend here, Flight, to watch Invincibles. So starting with episode one, I want to ask, so before we get started, I want to know what's the background as far as superhero genre goes, like comics, movies. Tell me a little bit about your background involving those mediums.
Well, I watched the early superhero animations. So, Superman animated, Batman, the animated series, Batman Beyond. I even technically watched Teen Titans. So, but the other three that I listed, I consider to be greats, superhero animated, right? Even Justice League is arguably up there, depending on that too, right? So I came from the time when superheroes were superheroes and they weren't this jaded way that they are. Some people would call it realistic, right? But I disagree with them to some extent. Realistic is fine, but
What were your first impressions of Mark, our protagonist?
well, when I first met Mark, right, I thought that this was going to be like a kid wasn't going to get his powers or whatever, and he was just have to grow up in the shadow of his father, who seemed to be very well established here. But Mark comes across as someone that always wanted to be a superhero, or whatever, right?
Would be like his
But
dad.
yeah, but in reality, speaking strictly of the first episode, he is just portrayed as a kid, right? He's not portrayed as being particularly vindictive or particularly cynical or whatever. He is just, a teen kid given great powers, and so, I think his character, the core of him, still was the same.
Come on, let's be honest. We all seen the twist at the end of the episode.
I didn't.
You
I
didn't?
didn't.
Okay.
No. Despite me knowing a bit about Invincible and that was going to be a darker take, I didn't actually expect that Tommy Man was just going to, spoilers, already did it before, but just murder the entire Justice League ripoff immediately. I believe it's the Guardians of the Globe.
How you will just sit there and not do nothing? My girl got beat in the face immediately. I don't care if shock at
I,
all. You can go intangible. I think that's one of her abilities.
well,
Am I wrong?
yeah, she could go intangible,
And got
but
punched in the face.
but okay. Didn't we just have a conversation about the speedster? That apparently Omni-Man could move so fast that he could crush the speedster's head. So we don't even know if he moved so fast that she didn't even have time to react.
She had another time to say, "Oh no."
When I first saw the twist, I did get mad because I thought that they literally just turned into a cynicism. They just pulled the boys on me. Basically, the note that I took about it, right? because even if it was a great scene, that would make most people go to watch the next episode, right? I just, I just, I just didn't want it to take that dark turn. I thought it was a good. Well, I really didn't have strong feelings about the episode, if I'm honest, right? But I thought it was a good introduction and showing the realities of superhero uh, career that isn't as glamorous as is painted, right? It wasn't superhero-y, but I didn't think it was in bad taste. It was just showing this is the realities of being a superhero. And this is Mark's first day too. Even if he is, the son of Omni-Man, that does not necessarily mean he has the experience or the know-how of what to do faced with overwhelming threat.
Oh,
So I thought the episode was good, actually.
Speaking of which, what was your thoughts over the team? Them coming to save his ass.
They weren't what I expected, right? So when the red-haired girl came in and she started saving people, right? I thought they were going to make Eve like she was kind of a butt. I kind of like all of them. Rex, I like. Some people might give me flack for that, but no, I like Rex. I like Eve. I think Duplicate is somewhat underrated a little bit due to how her power works, and Robot was the favorite to me when he came in, and then Rex took that spot.
Yeah. I have to say Rex was probably the bottom of the barrel for me. I was a whole dickhead, but it is what it is. Every story needs one. But like any other dickhead, there are times he keeps it real. Like towards the end, like bro, like went to go fight Omni-Man. I mean, spoilers, we'll get into that part later, but he was like, bro, that's fucking Omni-Man. You fucking kidding me? Like, but like I thought fucking changing people. Speaking of which, can we go back to the idea that it was a fucking flying ant? Yeah, I had to kill this motherfucker. He's flying around in my room, fucking up my concentration. I think it also showed the resourcefulness of the whole team.
I agree.
Going on to the end of the episode, what do you think about this one, Omni-Man?
I'll admit I didn't think about it that much at the time when he said it. But with hindsight, it's a nice little attention to detail for setup for what was to come. It just showed how Omni-Man could wipe out a civilization.
But moving on to like episode 3. So of course this is where we get the going to Guardians of the Globe and then role. You face Omni-Man giving a speech. What do you think about that?
I don't know how much of it he really meant. Right?
None of it. I'm gonna go with none of it.
Yeah, you give him no credit. I'm like, I don't know if Omni-Man is the complete psycho, right? Maybe he might get revealed to be that in season 2, but I personally think he was more conflicted than we realize, right? But
talking about the guy who said when they was like, "Yo, they were your team, they got killed." He cut them off, said, "Co-workers."
Yes,
about that guy.
Yes, because that's the way because he murdered them, right? You would want them to be mean less to you, right? Rather than them being called friends. Like, he does that. That's just something that he does, but whether he means it or not, you don't really know. That's why I'm saying I think he probably did mean some of the speech. It did come across as you faced it, but I just don't think Omni-Man is that much of a psychopath. Right? I mean, who knows?
But nevertheless, we get down to the culmination of the whole episode. Battle of the Tower. Favorite fight scene. I'm gonna do a breakdown of it. Think about this whole fight.
I mean, you can do a breakdown of it, but I mean, it was okay. The only disappointing thing that happened in that fight is that we don't get to see if Omni-Man could just break that tiger cat guy in half or not. It was the only disappointing thing.
No speculation that they're not okay. He didn't want none. That's what it looked like to a lot of people. I think his son getting rocked, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna sit my ass down here.
Yeah. If he listened to his dad, he wouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. He didn't be down.
But nevertheless, like I said, one of my favorite battles in the whole show. So we're getting down to it. I mean, like I said, You see, Mark, he starts to get some resistance. He starts fighting the whole team. He gets mad. He tries to fight back. Give him the whoop whoop blip blip. He starts to actually push the villains back until Tony the Tiger came by and put the paws on him. Literally, paws. It's a mace. But before the whole mace, of course, the Guardians of the Globe came in because they got alert from Amber. No, not Amber. To show up and help you, boy. He was getting beat down for a moment, and they came
I,
in. They were
I,
helping, pushing him
I,
back.
hold up. I don't think it was Eve. I'm pretty sure that was Omni Man that gave the anonymous tip.
Either way, they came and they were helping until they were not helping. My man did that whole combo starter on. The twist at the end of this episode is that the whole thing was a setup. I mean, not the whole thing with Guardians of that, but the whole thing to get Machine Head out of power now of the city, he can take over for him. That was the whole twist of this whole episode. I was taken off guard, but I didn't see it coming at all. What were your thoughts on it, Clark?
I didn't see it coming that Titan was basically going to make himself the bad guy ruler or whatever, right? But, I just was like, oh, another cynical backstab. How original. Was basically my reaction to it. It annoyed me more than anything, right? But
I thought it was really done well. Coming down to the crux of it, episode 7 and 8. So as he's coming back, he decides like, you know what? Fuck this planet, fuck this whole thing. I'm just get me myself. All right, it's about time to take over Earth anyway. About that time, Omni-Man does what Omni-Man does best. He starts killing people off break. We're talking about soldiers getting done the worst way. This is gonna be a bitch editing. But nevertheless, he gets down to the Cecil's right hand guy, Donald. Do you have any feelings about Donald got his whole back breaking out of him, his whole spine taken, Mortal Kombat?
it was funny, Omni Man calling him a coward, but he ended his life in a self-sacrificing way, right?
He went out.
Didn't
He was
accomplish
like,
anything.
bitch, you might got my spine, but hope this is so Cecil's throwing everything at him from, laser beams from heaven. That was pretty cool. The robots from episode 6, them fighting them. He himself got into the ring to box with Omni-Man. Which, I mean, granted, he came out of it alive, so, gotta get some props to him. We get down to the whole big fight of him facing the kaiju that he beat up before. But they gave the kaiju the Mexican bull treatment. Tied them up with all types of drugs, pissed them off, sent him on a fight. Which, I mean, why? He was in the ropes for a little bit. He was struggling. What was your thoughts about this whole fight? And there's some more that came into that fight, but before we go on, I want to know what your thoughts on.
Now, I know it's a superhero genre, so you're never gonna get a direct answer to that, but Omni Man went rogue, and almost every attempt to stop him was just basically a bump in the road. But the only thing I was curious about, if Mark didn't show up there to help out, would Omni Man have won that fight? Probably. The show wanted to convince you that that wouldn't have been the case, So I thought it was interesting to show the desperation about how this is one of these case scenarios that, the government didn't ever want to happen, but they were still somewhat prepared for.
Oh yeah, guess who? The Immortal. Never seen it coming. He was like, yo, what Omni-Man? He got to see me. He got to see these hands one more time. So he goes over there to them as, everything's culminating all together. Invincible's on this, those Kaiju's there, freaking Omni-Man and Invincible start teaming up on the Kaiju, but then Mora runs in for the interference and starts to fight Omni-Man himself. And I ain't gonna lie, he gets some good blows, but like anything else, he gets his back blown out again. Man really has to learn how to tighten up those punches, because if not, it's gonna want to happen again to episode 8, Invincible and Omni-Man. Yeah, you got the hurt put on. You got that whole bluka put on him once again. Conflict where he's like, yo, it's time to take over Earth. Parker's like, fuck them, fuck you too.
Maybe not quite as those words, but yeah, nah, he was pretty adamant about that.
I'm sure he said, fuck them.
I understand where you're coming from. That does seem pretty crazy. I was just more mad that no other superhero showed up. Why did it have to be regular dudes getting killed?
Fact. But nevertheless, I mean, they were told to hold tight. during previous parts of the episode that the whole team was previewing this. Rex was like, "This is the first time I actually commend them for being a real nigga." It was like, "Bro, I'm not gonna go up there. I throw change."
It's not quite the same as The Boys, right? With Homelander. Like, in fact, just as a slight side tangent, he is showing a pretty psychopathic. Who do you think is more psychopathic? Homelander or Omni-Man? Because he wasn't in Mortal Kombat.
They actually both are being added. If I had to say between the two, I have to definitely go with Homeland because his whole thing was having people like. I mean, they're both fucked up. Which one would you rather get hit by, a back truck or a dump truck? They're both bad. Going back, Omni-Man had to put the pause on Invincible. I mean, this man is giving this man a whole worldwide tour, the ass whooping first, taking them from kaiju fight to Chicago to fucking in the mountains, and ran into the mountains caused the whole avalanche, the whole meme. Think, Mark, think.
At the time, I was very, about it, right?
As you are, but
I was watching it, took it into it, but my favorite part that I thought was done well was when he was beating Mark and then he had a flashback, right? I thought that was well done. Everything up to that point was leading up to that one scene in the episode that I thought that made episode 8 pretty good. The flashback. If the flashback didn't happen, right, and he just suddenly came to that conclusion and he just left on his own, I probably wouldn't have, cared about the episode that much, to be fair. Other than the cool spectacle of the violence and beatdowns, right? But it was just showing that as a invincible warrior conquer race, right, they're not technically above feeling emotions.
We live for thousands of all that will die, including your mom. But what will you have after 500? But tears and blood, the pulp, Mark says, I still have you. And Omni-Man takes a second, looks at his hands, pulling tears in his eyes, puts his head down, up at the sky, and flies away. I enjoyed it.
That was it wasn't even the end. They had a whole fallen action of him being in a hospital and stuff like that. But that was basically the ending for all intents and purposes.
Thank you, Fly. That's what I thought.
I but it was good. I thought it was a good way to end it as well.
Good. Right. So what do you think about the series as a whole? I mean, I already kind of have the feeling that I'm a guess. Your feeling about this whole season was, it was okay.
So
I thought it was cynical.
I wouldn't have watched it if you had told me. Now that I watched it, do I think it's one of those must-watch that I would recommend to others? Not really. I somewhat think, in a way, it is overrated, but that is me doing the show wrong, right? I think everything it does is executed pretty well, because there's no character I dislike except for Amber, but it's still kind of, it didn't get to me in a way, so I'm just kind of, about it. And not in that it's in quality, just not my type of superhero.
My whole judgment about the series was it pulled me in and it held me to the very end. I was hooked. It was amazing. Question: would I recommend this to others? I think this is a show. All of this, contrary to my co-host here, Fly, I would say it.
As for me, I wouldn't put it as must watch, but I don't think you would regret watching it. If you can watch the entire season and nothing particularly turns you off, I think you would walk away and understand why people liked it. I may not have the same view as JL does, but I think it's watchable. I think you can get a little picture from watching it.
But do you think season 2 is going to measure up?
I think it will be better, but it will strictly depend how they handle the main plot. Because the only thing I'm interested in is the Omni-Man plot to be there. It's not that the other plots are bad, but I don't care about the Mars, which is basically just a variation of Among Us. I find that to be a little bit hilarious. There's Mars. There's the Time Invaders plot line as well. There's Immortal being revived from the dead. You know, the brothers are probably gonna break out of prison again, and then do some nefarious plots. There's a lot of stuff that's unanswered that needs to be resolved, right? But none of them so far have the quality to keep the main plot. Deal with that. I think it can actually be better.
Okay, well, nevertheless, thank you guys for joining us today on our channel, No Culture. Again, my name is J.O. with my partner here, co-host Flock. You guys for joining with us. And before we go, I want to, does my co-host here have a recommendation for me for our next?
Uh, well, we're going to watch a movie, and the movie I'm going to recommend to you, I'm not much of a film person, that I think is very good. It's a
Spit it out
foreign film.
already.
Well, I was like, wow, all right. Can't build up any. The Man from Nowhere.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks again. Do the things that you need to do. Like, subscribe for our video. Whether it has this another one coming out to you shortly. Until this, guys, need to get culture.